Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this episode 3774 AN. Today's date is November 14th, 2025, and the title of the episode is Pennsylvania Abandons Carbon Trading, Trump Ready to Turn Up the Economic Heat on the Central Bank. Now, we've all seen the headlines that talk about Ozempic and similar miracle weight loss shots, but what most people don't realize is this. A major analysis just found out that people who stop taking these weight loss injections gain nearly all their weight back within a year. That's the catch. These drugs only work while you're on them. They're expensive, and the moment you stop, your body fights back. This is why I like BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate, and everyone is obsessed with the weight management results I've seen with it. It helps my body naturally trigger the same hunger-controlling, craving-reducing signals that Ozempic would, but without needles, prescriptions, or the scary side effects. It also promotes fullness, helps reduce hunger hormones, supports fat loss instead of muscle loss, and helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. For a limited time, you can grab a bag of BioTrust GLP-1 Elevate for 40% off only at trimwithx22.com. Plus, you'll also receive a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free express shipping on subscriptions. Once again, go to trimwithx22.com to get this deal now, or just click the link in the description. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, the private West Central Bank, the World Economic Forum, you can see their plan is completely and utterly falling apart, especially when you start to look at the Green New Scam, because again, as they were pushing the Green New Scam, people started to realize, why are energy costs going up so high? Why aren't we getting our energy? This is not working out whatsoever. And you have to remember, Trump cut us off from the World Economic Forum, the central bank. He wasn't going along with their plan. And you could see across the globe and here in the United States, it is completely and utterly falling apart. Just like everything else the central bank has been doing for a very long time. And Trump now is turning up the economic heat on the central bank system. And he's going to push inflation down very low. Now, when we say push inflation down very low, you have to remember inflation is cumulative. What he's going to do, he's going to bring in inexpensive items from other countries because he's going to be making deals. He's also going to be pushing energy down quite a bit, which is going to reduce manufacturing. It's going to reduce delivery. It's going to reduce pretty much everything, because when you have low energy prices, prices come down. But the inflation that the central bank has caused since 1971, that does not go away. But you can see that Trump, he's going to battle the deep state, battle the central bank, because remember, their entire motive, their entire push was, hey, Trump is going to create inflation, is going to destroy the economy. We're going to end up in a recession, depression, but the actual opposite is happening right now. And you could see that at this point in time, he has control. The central bank does not. He's building his parallel economic system. It's getting stronger and stronger every single day. And you can see the central bank right now is panicking. The World Economic Forum is panicking. The deep state players are panicking because everything that they were pushing forward with is completely and utterly falling apart. And remember, the Green New Scam is a complete and utter disaster. It made the economy go into a recession and almost a depression. Trump has been pulling us out of the Biden/Obama recession depression. And when you start to look at the states that were going along with this, of course, California, because that is the template of the Green New Scam, you could see that they're backing off of it right now. When you look at the Mid-Atlantic region, and these are the states, they are Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. All these states were involved in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. And you could see Pennsylvania right now, they decided, you know something, we're out. This is terrible. And the reason for this is that electricity, energy, is going way, way up. And the worsening power bill crisis across the Mid-Atlantic region forced Pennsylvania out. The Pennsylvania legislature ended the state's RGGI participation in the new state budget, which also cut funding tied to the climate initiative, effectively reversing the state's 2019 entry under Tom Wolf. And it's pretty much straightforward. Climate taxes equals higher power bills. And you could see this is exactly what was happening out in Pennsylvania. It's not just happening out in Pennsylvania, but it's happening in all the other states. And the people of those states are realizing that this entire carbon initiative, this entire Green New scam hoax, it doesn't assist the state. It doesn't help with energy. It makes everything worse. I think we've seen this out in Europe. And all you got to do is look at Germany and especially Spain. You could see it very, very carefully and clearly. But here in the United States, you can see what Trump is doing right now. He's actually reversing everything the central bank, the deep state players, the Ds, everything that they were doing to make energy prices go up. And remember, when Trump was running for election, he said we have liquid gold under our feet, which is black liquid gold. And Trump said, yeah, we're going to be bringing energy prices way, way down. And we're not going to be dependent on any other country, because that's what the deep state, the central bankers have done. They made us dependent on all other countries. And if anything should happen, a national security issue, could be an environmental disaster like a storm or something like that, or even war, we would be dependent on every other country, which would not work out in our favor. Plus, if we're going to bring manufacturing back to this country, which we are, we need energy. Now, think about it. Why were they pushing the energy out of this country? Because their plan was not to have us as a manufacturing powerhouse. Their plan was to bring us into a third world status where there was no manufacturing in this country. That's what they were trying to do. And Trump now is reversing all this and bringing all of it back to the U.S. And the Trump administration has finalized plans to open the coastal plains of Alaska Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to drill for oil and gas. And of course, you have to remember, the deep state players, what did they do? They said, oh, no, you can't touch this land. You can't touch that land. You can't touch anything. But you can touch it if you want to put solar panels on there. So once again, you can see they're full of it. And U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum, he announced this decision that paves the way for future lease sales within the refuge's 1.5 million acres. And yes, there's going to be a lot of drilling. Yes, there's going to be a lot of oil. And I do believe in the end, what we're going to see is we're going to see oil really start to come down. I think people are already starting to see this and believe it. Oil prices, which means gas prices at the pumps, they are now dropping like a rock. And I think this is going to get even better and better as we move into the year of 2026. I think what we're going to see is we're going to see fuel prices in many, many areas right in the beginning of 2026 approach $2 a gallon. And I think in some places it's going to go way under $2 a gallon. And I think as time goes on and we continually drill in many other places, I do believe what we're going to see is we're going to see fuel prices probably approach the $1 mark. And I think people in this country are going to be absolutely shocked and surprised. Because remember, if we're bringing manufacturers back to this country, which we are, you could see all the investments. You could see they're already starting to build their plants. Actually, Toyota right now, they have decided to move their battery factory out of Japan and into the United States. Eric Doherty put this out and said, a massive victory just occurred. Toyota has begun production at a new $13.9 billion North Carolina USA facility and has committed another $10 billion for USA manufacturing over the next 5 years. The 1,850-acre plant in North Carolina is the first battery factory outside of Japan, creating 5,100 American jobs. Today's launch of Toyota's first U.S. battery plant and additional U.S. investment up to $10 billion markets as a pivotal moment in our company's history, says the Toyota CEO. So what are we seeing? We're seeing manufacturers, they're building here. It's going to create 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000, 1 million jobs in this country. And this is the central bank, the deep state players' worst nightmare. You have to remember, Trump, he didn't go through all this crap since 2016 just to say business as usual. You know what? Let's just keep the central bank over there. Let's keep the system that they already have. Let's keep the manufacturers where they are. No, his entire mission from the very, very beginning was to bring the power back to the United States, to get rid of the central bank, to hand back the power of the creation of currency, to hand back the power of the economy back to the people. This is why he's continually turning up the heat on the central bank system, because once again, he's going to prove that central bank has no idea what they're doing, that he's in control of the economy, that he's creating the jobs, that he's controlling inflation. This way, in the end, when people see all this, and I do believe they're going to see this in the beginning of 2026, I think people are already starting to see it right now. And when the manufacturers and all these different companies start to open up and jobs are plentiful all across the country, people are going to be on his side. And as people are on his side, it's going to make it that much easier to remove the central bank system. But first, he has to prove to the American people that his policies are working in their favor. And that's exactly what he's doing. Think about it. When he hands out the dividend, and remember, the fake news likes to call it stimulus. This is not stimulus. We're not borrowing currency from the central bank saying, hey, we're going to try to stimulate something. This is Trump bringing in income from other countries, because what are we doing? Now, as we wrap up 2025, it's a good time to slow down and reflect on the year. If there's one thing we've all learned, is that uncertainty isn't temporary. It's the world we live in now. Waiting for things to go back to normal isn't a plan, it's a gamble. For over a decade, my friends at Noble Gold Investments have helped Americans protect themselves and the people they love by diversifying their wealth with gold and silver. Look, no one knows what 2026 will bring, but one thing's for sure. In an uncertain world, real wealth isn't digital. It's physical, it's lasting, and it's yours. So when you're sitting around the table this holiday season, surrounded by family, remember, the best gift you can give isn't under the tree, it's peace of mind. And that's what Noble Gold delivers. Peace of mind, 1 ounce at a time. Before the year ends, take one smart step toward a safer future. Visit X22Gold.com and get your free wealth protection kit today. That's X22Gold.com. Don't leave your future to chance, or just click the link in the description. And remember, past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions. We are placing tariffs on the other countries. They have to pay us to bring in their products to this country. We are making income from it. We are not creating currency. We're not adding to the inflation. This is currency that's already in existence. So basically, you could see that he is now benefiting the people of this country. From all your hard work, from producing products here, this is your dividend. See, the central bank worked in the opposite way. And I don't believe this is just going to be the last one. I think there's going to be plenty of this because, again, this is what our founding fathers wanted from the very, very beginning. They didn't want your hard-earned money taken from you. They wanted other countries who are exporting their products into this country to pay a price. And that price, yes, will fund the government, but also will help the American people. And that's exactly what Trump is doing. And like we said before, Trump has to show the American people that he is in complete and utter control of the economic system, and the central bank, the deep state players, the financial pundits, the economists, they have no clue in what they're saying. And Trump now has announced a new trade agreement. Eric Doherty put this out and said, soon coffee, beef, and bananas, and many other products, they're going to come way, way down. Why? Because he's basically dismantling the entire globalist system. He's making trade deals, trade agreements that benefit the United States, and we're going to see lower costs because of this. So we have Argentina, we have El Salvador, we have Ecuador, we have Guatemala. All 4 countries have agreed to a framework on reciprocal trade. And basically, Scott Bessent has indicated tariff cuts are coming on several products, which means prices are going to come down quite a bit. And when people go to the market, people are going to see cheaper prices. Now, what Trump is doing right now with beef, he understands that the middleman is the problem. Because, again, there are foreign interests in these meat packing plants. They drive the prices up. It's a monopoly. And he understands this. So he's going to start to bypass all of this. You're going to see beef prices start to come way down. And they are now investigating this monopoly. And once again, we're going to see what happens when all this is unraveled. Remember, the deep state, the central bankers, they were allowing the criminals to do what they do best. And now their time is up and everything is going to be coming to an end. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is that we know that Trump and his team, they're going up against the central bank system. And you have to remember the central bank system does not benefit the American people. And you could see that ever since the central bank came into existence, the economic system has declined every single year. And here we are in 2025 going into 2026, and we can see the economy is absolutely awful. And Trump, he needs to basically help the housing market, because when you really look at it over time, you can see the central bank system, because of inflation, because of the creation of currency and the inflation that they cause, they made everything out of whack. Housing prices are skyrocketing. Wages have never, ever kept up. The interest rates have gone way out of whack, where the young generation can't even afford a home. And actually, the other reason they can't afford a home, because the currency continually declines, and the younger generation now, they have to work harder and harder and harder just to do what their grandparents have done, even their parents, because as time goes on, the central bank system completely and utterly breaks down. And you can see when Trump mentioned the 50-year mortgage, people actually freaked out. They're like, whoa, we can't do this. But you have to remember what Trump is doing. This is not about keeping the central bank system alive. This is about dismantling it, dismantling the IRS and removing the income tax. So when Trump says, hey, listen, we're going to go to 50-year mortgages because we have to spur the housing industry. We need a lot more people owning a house. We need to bring up home ownership, because remember, we were going the other way. Think about what the World Economic Forum has told us from the very, very beginning. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Trump is saying you will own everything and you'll be ecstatic. You'll be absolutely, unbelievably happy because of it. So he's doing the opposite of what they're saying. And this is why he said the 50-year mortgage. Now people are saying, oh my God, if I do this, interest is going to be absolutely out the window here. It's going to be, instead of 500,000, it's going to be $1 million. Instead of $1 million, it's going to be 2 million. It's going to be double of anything that we're doing. But remember, if you're living in the central bank world, yes, that is true. But in the very, very beginning, Trump, he's going to make it so people get a much, much lower payment, a lower down payment. People are going to be able to afford a house. People are going to be able to move in. And remember, yes, if you pay it out over the 50 years, yes, that's what your interest rate will be. But what happens when Trump, number one, returns your buying power? What happens when he weans us off the central bank? What happens when you no longer pay income tax? Do you have additional buying power now? Absolutely. Can you use that money then to offset the 50 years? Absolutely. And remember, the mortgage is a fixed rate. So whatever you're paying, it's fixed. Just like if you go back to 1971, when people purchased their homes in the 60s, and for those people that are old enough, you remember this, you had a fixed rate. When we came off of the central bank system, the currency lost value. And when it lost value, because we came off the gold standard, what happened? They had to readjust everything. They readjusted your wage. They readjusted pretty much everything, but they didn't readjust your mortgage payment. Yes, your housing value readjusted and it went higher, but your fixed mortgage rate stayed the same. So you were making more income, but the fixed mortgage was still the same. You felt incredible. Now, let's take this to today. Trump says, okay, get a 50-year mortgage. Instead of $900, you're paying $450 or $500. Trump starts to wean us off the central bank system. Now, all of a sudden, you're not paying income tax, because that's where all of this is going. He's creating the tariff system, the parallel economic system, to compete with the central bank. Remember, we only have two ways to fund the government: borrow the currency or bring income into the country. The tariff men, the presidents that use tariffs, they knew this. So when he weans the people off of the income tax because of the tariff system, because that then can pay for the debt, and I do believe in the end he will pay off the debt, what happens? You have additional buying power. What happens when actually he pays off the debt? And what happens to your currency that you have? the value of your currency shoots up. You get all your buying power back. Remember, when you go back to 1971 to today, when they talk about 2% inflation, 1% inflation, 0% inflation, they're only talking about this year or next year. They're not talking about the cumulative inflation. How do we ever go back? I mean, if it's 0% inflation, wouldn't we go back to 1971? The prices back then? But we don't. Why? Because it's cumulative. Actually, inflation is 3,000%. That's really what you're looking at. So you're going to get the 3,000% back, which means your fixed mortgage rate is going to be absolutely nothing. And you have this incredible home. Plus, they're looking to do something else. Karma Patriot explains. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are studying new ways for homebuyers to take over existing mortgages or move loans between properties. Trump administration is now looking into normalizing portable mortgages, allowing Americans to keep their interest rate, term, and lender when moving to a different home. How it works. You buy a house A at 3%. You want house B instead of refinancing at 7%. Your same loan at 3% moves with you. Same rate, same terms, no refinancing fee, like carrying. Someone might want to trade down, but why would you trade down if you have such good financial arrangements, Scott Pecent says. And that is absolutely true. So think about what Trump is doing. He knows he has to counter everything the deep state, the central bankers have done. He has to prove to the American people his policies work. His policies benefit you. And he has to show everyone, and he has to make sure that everyone feels it. You have to feel the economy getting better. And that's what people are experiencing right now. And yes, it's going to get better and better and better as we go through 2026. Think about it. When you start to see gas prices at $1.99, $1.89, that trickles into everything else. It trickles into production. It trickles into delivery. It trickles into airline flights, bus fees. It trickles into train fees and tickets that you purchase to ride a train. It trickles into everything that we do on a daily basis. And all of a sudden, people start to feel a lot better. And think about it. In 2026, because of the One Big Beautiful Bill, people are going to get incredible tax refunds. Think about all those people that, get tips, those people that work overtime, those people that are collecting Social Security. They're going to get refunds on all of that. Plus, you're going to see other refunds. Think about as we move forward, as everything gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because of lower energy prices, because of the refunds, because that's really returning the buying power back to you. And as Trump says, okay, the tariff system now has grown to a point where you can get a dividend, which I think is going to be very, very soon, which means each person. So there's a family of 2, you get $4,000. A family of 3, you're getting 6. A family of 4, you're getting 8. A family of 5, you're getting 10. Is this not going to assist the people? Where do you think all this money is going to actually end up going? Back into the economy. When it goes back into the economy, because you have this additional buying power, what happens? All of a sudden, the economy starts to boom. Are more jobs created? Absolutely. Do businesses expand? Absolutely. Do manufacturers expand? Absolutely. That means more and more jobs are being created, which means the economy really starts to move. And you know what else happens? A lot of people stop using debt. They stop using credit cards. Think about it. What the central bank has done, it made us dependent on credit. Because otherwise, if you get rid of all your credit cards, everything that you have, and you tried to live on your salary, can you do it? No, but when you get your buying power back and you get your taxes back and you're no longer paying taxes, and then when Trump pays off the debt and you get the 3,000% inflation back, can you live off that money? Absolutely. See, this is what the central bank has stolen from us over these many, many years. Trump is now just returning it, and he wants everyone to feel it because in the end, when you're experiencing it, when you're feeling it, it doesn't matter what the central bank says. It doesn't matter what the deep state says. It doesn't matter what the financial pundits say. They could tell you that the economy is terrible, But when you see more and more stores are opening up, when you see yourself purchasing items, when you see yourself going out for a better job, when you feel good and happy, there's nothing they could say to change your mind. And that's what Trump is doing. And yes, this is going to happen in the beginning of next year. It's going to get better in the middle, and it's going to be absolutely incredible by the end of 2026. In the end, the central bank is doomed. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.